it's Jen from Fabulous Paper Emporium. As promised, I've got another super easy, perfect card for the novice card maker. Even if you're not a novice card maker, perhaps you've never made this card. So it's a relatively new card for me, and so I am sharing it. It's called the bookbinding card, and I've seen a couple of variations. This is the simplified version, and kind of as the weeks progress, we will dive into how to make them a little bit more, you know, of an advanced card. So right now we're just stripping it down. We're making the really simple basic, and then we can get along or move along and kind of expand our horizons, so to speak. But this week, since we're focusing really on scoring and the different scoring that you can do to make fun folds and that kind of thing, and the layering, I figured this was kind of a way to go in that direction. But again, easy enough to accomplish. So I've got all my pieces cut out this time. I figure we've gone over the cutting, how to cut the paper. Again, we're using A2 size bases for this, so we can maximize how many cards you're getting from your cardstock. And so the bases for these cards, you'll be able to get two card bases from each 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Now, of course, for the extra layers for the inside, you will need some extra cardstock. So, but that's fine. If you're making, again, multiple cards, you can maximize how many you get from a sheet of cardstock. So I'm going to go through the sizes first and the scoring, and then we'll get to it. So again, a really simple card. I'm just doing the one for this video. There will be, I think I've got 2 or 3 more planned, and hopefully, you know, we spread them out over the week, and that'll give you lots of inspiration for any future cards that you might need. Okay, so getting to the sizes. So I've gone again with Ivory. We are using the Alice's Tea Party paper, which I don't have handy right now, but so we're going to start off with a sheet of 11 4 1/4. We're going to score this at 2 spots. So we're scoring this at 5 1/2, and then we're also scoring it at 6 3/4. So when you put your sheet of cardstock in your paper trimmer with the scoring blade, you're going to move the left side to 5 1/2 and score, and then you're moving it over to 6 3/4 and you're scoring again. Okay, and the reason for this is we're going to fold this in half, right? Get our bone folder and burnish that really well. And then at the 6 3/4, that is actually going to allow our card to open, because we were going to seal this part, hence the name, the bookbinding card. So we're going to fold that backwards at the 6 3/4, and we're going to have our little flap. Don't worry about this hinge right now. We're going to glue that down in just a minute. First, we're going to get our front all done, and for that I need to go through some additional pieces. So for the outside and the inside, and again, the inside on this card, because we're doing a light base, is optional. So you don't have to do 2 extra layers on the inside if you don't want to. I am, because I feel like then there's balance. There's balance between the outside and the inside, and I really do like that in my card making. So that's just a personal preference. Do them with, do them without. See what you like, and over time you'll develop your own style and what you prefer, and there's no right or wrong really in card making. It's creative. It's all up to you. So these are just suggestions really, and of course my personal preference. So we've got 2 blue, again I've gone with the dark blue, so we've got 2 dark blue pieces. Let me get them together. And both of these are cut at 4x4. So 4x4 squares. And then we have a little piece that is going to go on this hinge if you'd like. And this piece is cut at 1x4. So that's it for your first layer. If you were doing a dark base, like we were showing the first card that we did, excuse me. If we were doing a dark base, then your first layer would be light, and you, on the inside at least, wouldn't require any further layers. So I would, at that point, do the two 4x4, and that way you'd have one for the inside and one for the outside, and you're kind of done there. Okay, I did one extra piece that is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and this is the ivory paper, same as my base, and that's going to go on the inside, layered on top of one of the blue pieces. And then I've also cut out 2 different patterns from the Alice's Tea Party. I've got this beautiful blue, and it's got Alice and her tea party and all kinds of banners. And that is, again, cut at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, because we're doing a 1/4 inch difference between the base layer and the top layer. And then we have this little strip, which is 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that will layer up on there. Okay, so now it's just a matter of assembly, really. So I'm going to assemble my front, then we'll glue down our binding, for lack of a better word. Not really sure what to call it, but it's, you know, for a book, it would be that would be the binding, really. So why not? It's called the book binding card, so I see no reason why that wouldn't be the binding for our card. Okay, so we're applying our glue just on the inside so that we minimize the amount of glue seepage when it comes to applying our layers. So this time I did it a little bit differently. I did my layers and then I applied them all to the card, and you can definitely do that. So now I'm going to do it kind of the other way, which is just going layer by layer and applying those to the card. Again, there's no right or wrong way to doing this, but when I'm applying this layer, I'm looking to kind of eyeball and make sure that I've got these kind of in line as much as possible. You know, that also is what you can do when you're dry fitting. Now you could leave your card like this. If, let's say you have a sentiment that you wanted to stamp here, happy birthday, congratulations, so long as you have perhaps like a white ink for your stamp, we're going to go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, no pun intended, when it comes to embossing, which is another technique that you can use for card making. So you could easily just leave it like this. Even if you have a white gel pen and wanted to write something here, happy birthday, congratulations, thank you. You're invited. This is perfect paper for you're invited. You can easily leave it like this. I am going to add another paper from this paper collection, and I'm just going to apply my glue and get that down as centered as possible. And again, I'm kind of looking at kind of every part of it. So it's not just, this bookbinding piece. It's making sure that there's a little bit of, as much as possible. You're eyeballing it. So, it's not always going to be perfect. It's homemade. It's handmade. Perfection is not always achievable, and I don't think everybody's looking for perfection. So now I've opened my card, and I'm going to apply you know, I guess some squiggles of glue. There's a generous amount there, I guess. And we're just going to close that. Okay, we've already opened and burnished. So we're sealing this side part down. Okay. And then, so this way, this is how the card opens. It stands up, it's all good. So it's just, again, a different style. And then if you were going to stamp, I would suggest stamping before you apply it to the inside. And this way, if there's any oopsies, you have an easy fix. You just grab another piece of cardstock or even flip it over, depending on how dark your stamp is. Quite often I've just flipped over the page or the piece that I've cut out and just stamped it on the other side. Chances are if you flip it, if you make a mistake, which believe me, we all have, if you make a mistake on your stamp, flip it over and apply it and just kind of dry fit it to the base. Chances are you're not going to be able to make out what that stamp says. And if you can't, you're good to go. Just stamp on the other side and apply it to your card, and nobody is the wiser. Okay, so now we've layered up. We've done our first layer. We're doing our second layer. And we apply to the middle. And see, simple, quick and easy, but still extremely beautiful. You can, if you had any little rhinestones or pearls that you wanted to embellish your front with, you could easily do that. One thing I am going to kind of bring in, this was the card that we had done yesterday, the flip flap card. So on this, I was thinking about this later on, and I had made a mistake when I was originally cutting my polka dot. And instead of throwing those cuts out, I put them on the inside. So I didn't throw anything out. Even those little offcuts, I applied them on the inside. So I just wanted to mention that because, you know, when you think you have a small piece of scrap and you might be tempted to throw it out, don't. Keep it for a little bit. I always keep all of my pattern paper for a specific collection always goes into a Ziploc bag. Everything, every part of that collection. So the original paper pad, as soon as I start tearing into it and start using it, it goes into the Ziploc bag. All of my cuts go into the Ziploc bag. So this way, I try to minimize the amount of waste. So I'm just passing that little tidbit on to you as well, so that you, especially for the novice, you want to make your paper go as far as you possibly can. You really want to get your value out of your paper pack or your collection pack, whatever it is that you've purchased, even your solids. And that's why we're going through a lot of the A2 card bases, because you can easily get 2 out of one card, one piece of 8.5 by 11. Of course, when you get into layering, again, you'll have some pieces that are, offcuts. Well, maybe not offcuts necessarily, but they're remnants. Again, in your solids, I have a big box next to me that is all of my solids. So I really encourage you to have maybe two areas where you can keep, one for your pattern paper in a bag. I should note that basically if you purchase any collection kit from us, which is the 12 by 12, and you always get a 12, it's actually a 13 by 13 Ziploc bag, and we call it a project saver. And so as soon as you open, here's one of the 12 by 12s. This is one of the newer collections we have from Echo Park, Summer Bliss. And so as soon as you open this cellophane, it's not always easy to get the kits or the paper back in there. So with your purchase of a 12 by 12, and I'm even thinking of expanding that to the 8 by 8, the 6 by 8, the 6 by 6, just any paper that you purchase from us, we're going to be including a project saver bag, which is 13 by 13. It'll fit everything and anything. I've put, half completed projects in there, so I'm keeping all of my paper for that one project together. They're also available for purchase as well, so if you wanted additional ones, you're more than welcome to purchase them. And yeah, they're a super efficient way of keeping all your light paper together. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a big old like and, sorry, a thumbs up. But that's just liking the page, or the video rather. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future videos. Till we see ourselves again in this beautiful place, that's a weird saying. Till we meet again. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.